What's up, everybody? Welcome to the first ever episode of this fine CarGurus editorial team's podcast. My name is Elliot, Haney, video producer here. To my left, I have Natalie, Harrington, lead staff writer.
Hi there.
Thank you. Next to her, we have the California boy. We got Dave, Undercoffler, with a bunch of titles. Which one do you prefer? Which one is the one you
What's your
identify with the
favorite?
most?
Just the nice ones.
So editor-in-chief of
Editor-in-chief
Autolist.
of Autolist, which is a sister company to CarGurus. I do the EV content for CarGurus, do some videos.
Leader of the EV Hub.
All that stuff.
And
Happy to be
last
here.
but certainly not least, Deputy Editor
Debatable.
Matt Smith.
Always last. Always last.
Always last.
Thrilled to be here, though.
Always the bridesmaid. Never
So
the bride.
this team, other than me, are all of the expert reviewers you can see on our YouTube channel. If you've seen a CarGurus video review, it's probably one of these three fine people. We have some others, but these are the staff members. And you can also see me on our social content, as long as these other people allow it.
Let's not sell you short either. You know, Natalie might test drive a car that I don't test drive.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
might test drive a car that Natalie doesn't test drive. But for both of those cars, you're the one sitting shotgun holding the camera.
That's true.
Accurate.
I've been
You
in
probably-
many cars.
Yeah.
I've filmed and photographed many cars.
Front row experience.
Front row experience. And
Everything we cover.
I love being the passenger to all of your driver's seats.
Aw.
Oh, that's sweet. What a dear.
So this podcast, what is it? What are we doing? So on the CarGurus website, cargurus.com, hopefully you've heard of it. There's a tab at the top. It's the research tab. If you click on that tab, click onto that page, everything there is what we do. There's a lot of articles on there. There's a lot of evergreen articles, lists, best ofs. We're going to talk through those lists sometimes. We're going to talk about our favorite, for example, our favorite 7-passenger SUVs, our favorite sports cars. Stay tuned for future episodes. But today we're doing something a little bit different. So we're always going to keep you guessing a little bit.
New and used, too. We'll cover,
Yes,
because
new
people
and
are
used.
shopping for
Absolutely.
both or one of the two. Yeah, so we'll cover it all.
Absolutely. But today is April 16th. When you're watching this is April 16th. It's not for us. We're recording this in advance. There is the New York International Auto Show coming up, or it's happened for you. There's a lot of cars being announced, being released that we want to talk about, and we want to kind of give our opinions. So it's of the moment.
We have opinions.
Oh, yeah.
We have opinions, and our
abundance.
Some of them are the wrong opinions. I'm not going to name names.
so
Thanks, Dave.
Matt.
there's a couple automakers that have released big things at the
Yeah.
auto show. Dave, our like I said, our man in California, has seen a lot of these vehicles in person. He's walked around them, and he's actually made videos on at least 3 of them,
Yeah.
which you can find on our YouTube channel right now. So go after this, of course. After this, go watch those videos, and we're going to talk through some of what Dave has seen, some of what we've seen in picture form, and that's going to be the setup for today.
Love it.
Sound good?
Where do we start?
Dave, tell me if you disagree, but I think we start with what seems like the company that released most things.
Yeah.
Is it Subaru?
Subaru has they're actually treating this as a real auto show. I feel like auto shows in the past 5 years since the pandemic kind of lost their luster, right?
Yeah.
They used to be like, this is where all the news came out from all the automakers, New York Auto Show, Detroit, LA. And then the pandemic just they'd been declining in sort of importance. But this one, Subaru's coming out with 3 pretty big deals, all at one show, right? Sometimes automakers like to spread it out, or they like to own the narrative, so they don't do it around an auto show. But Subaru. So let's start with, one, probably the biggest,
I'd say the biggest.
the most impactful,
The most impactful.
Certainly
all new.
sales-wise.
and to Subaru's identity, all new Subaru Outback, right? The station wagon, the wagon that
The
helped
station wagon,
identify them.
maybe that was.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
And
was
isn't anymore.
wagony.
So that's the big news is, you can see pictures of it right here. This is sort of a deliberate move by Subaru to kind of move a little away from the wagoniness of it. I think they feel self-conscious about, the whole market is shifting towards SUVs. You went big, you went rugged. So they're trying to, maybe retain or capture some new buyers who were maybe didn't quite want a wagon, which to me, I can see that going both ways. But to me, one of the appeals of the Outback has always been it is the wagon.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Has
like
few
the only
competitors.
Yeah, so but at the same time, lots of utility. So there weren't any real compromises.
Yeah, and I know, excuse me, I know when Subaru changed to the more SUV style, in 2009, maybe that 4th gen Outback. their sales went through the roof. So like they have this formula kind of baked in. They know going bigger usually doesn't hurt them.
Yeah.
But to your point, like, and Natalie, no competition against the Outback. I mean, there was
and people liked it for being different. My parents are on their third Subaru Outback.
Really?
And like
My parents are on their first Subaru Outback.
I mean, they like it because it wasn't an SUV, right? Like it was different, but then offered all of the advantages of an SUV and crossover.
Like, remember when the first Venza came out, Toyota Venza, and it was kind of that Outback shape, and Subaru faithful were just like, get off our corner. This is Subaru owns this. Everybody who wants something like this goes to Subaru. It feels a little maybe misguided.
Yeah, we'll see.
Me at least.
The sales will speak for themselves. But
that's true.
So
honestly,
they changed
it's gonna sell like gangbusters.
Yeah,
now.
I mean they changed it as much as they could without it. If you look at it, you're like, you can kind of squint. It's like at one angle it's wagon-ish, and then the other angle it's crossover-ish. So they like tiptoed right up to that line.
Yeah. Looks like it still has that length to it.
Yeah. And for what it's worth, if you're listening to this on an audio only platform, head on over to the YouTube because I'm going to be popping up some pictures. And also you can search online because they'll be everywhere at this point. So check out
including CarGurus.com.
Including CarGurus.com. Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to.
So they changed the style and the shape, but like underpinnings are still the same, still all-wheel drive, still same powertrains.
Yeah, same engine. Right? There's a standard and an XT turbo.
In Dave's video, you can hear the racket that engine's making.
Yeah, I mean it's still but your boxer engine or a turbo. So 180 horsepower base model, 260 horsepower turbocharged.
So really no upgrades there really.
No, because Subaru kind of does what Toyota does in that with every new generation, the shell is new and the interior is new, but like the powertrain often is carryover. And then if there is a powertrain change, they'll tweak that like mid-cycle.
Sure.
Rather than like Ford will just like everything is new for better or worse, or some automakers. So,
but that's one of the things that it feels like a negative because it's not fresh and new, but doesn't that help the reliability? Because it has the same engine for 15 years,
Literally,
10 years.
that's the 2.5 liter in the Outback, the base engine. I mean, I had a 2011 that had a 2.5 liter H4 engine.
Do you think it's the same engine?
Well,
they've tweaked it.
Yeah,
related.
tweaks, updates,
but it's largely the same.
Yeah,
I think mine made like 172 horsepower, and now it makes 180. Yeah. So like you're not getting huge performance upgrades, but reliability. I mean, they have it figured out.
They do, yeah. So it's like all parts are largely the same. So for repair costs are low, parts costs,
So we are a New England-based company at CarGurus. Dave is in California, but the rest of us live in the Boston area. Around here, anywhere you look, you see dozens of Foresters,
you shake a tree and
Outbacks.
A dozen Subarus.
That's all you see. That's all we have. A couple of us on this panel right now own Foresters. It seems like Dave and at least my parents own Outbacks. Natalie, do you have a history with Subaru at all?
Natalie, who has how many cars? Tell the audience.
5 maybe.
None of them are Subarus. Did they make Subarus in 1977?
They did.
Natalie loves a vintage classic.
You should get a
cool car.
Yeah. That would be cool.
That'd
be very cool. There are some cool older ones. My dad had a legacy wagon, I think.
Okay, great.
I want to say it was late 80s
we had one of those.
Early 90s for a while. I hated it at the time because it didn't have air conditioning. It was summer. It was manual. He would bog down in intersections.
Now we look at that and we're like, it was a good
I
analog learning experience.
But at the time, I was 12, and I was like, oh, I to ride
totally
in this thing.
Yeah, we had a Subaru of that vintage, and it turned my dad off for 20 years or 25 years because we lived in upstate New York, and it was a Subaru Legacy wagon. It was white, and I'd have to ask him a very short period of time. I mean, months after buying it, it rusted through on one of the panels. And
which panel?
One of like the
side
side panel, like around the wheel well, I think, where like, probably a lot of salt kind of probably catches, but like on a brand new car. And he was able to take it back and then get some, raise hell at the dealer. And then that turned him off for Subarus until 2009. And then they got back into Outbacks and they've loved them ever since. It's been.
Looking at this new Outback, I suspect that will not be a problem. Not just because it's a modern car, but it looks to me like we've got a lot of plastic.
A lot of cladding.
Yeah.
That says off road, Matt. That's how automakers say that this is a tough car.
So Subaru has the wilderness, the off road trim, but it seems like the regular trim is trying to look off roady as well. Like to me, it looks like a Tonka truck, or like it's made of
It's
Lego.
blockier now.
It's very trucky. It reminds me of what Toyota's done with like the Sequoia, only smaller. I thought it was interesting Matt
Super
mentioned
blocky.
the Venza earlier, because now who's on whose territory with this?
Yeah, good point.
for sure.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right. It's funny about the Wilderness because I can see like a Wilderness Crosstrek. Like it gets a little higher, a little more rugged, but like the Outback you're starting with is already pretty rugged. It sits pretty high. But what's interesting is that Subaru has released the Wilderness at the same time. Usually that's something that they launch a year later. So they, at the show, and you can see it online right now, they have the Wilderness Edition, higher ground clearance, pretty aggressive styling. I'm going to start. Who likes
what do we think?
I don't like the back. And in the photos, if you look at like a rear 3/4 image of the Wilderness, it's just a lot of blocks and chunks. And
it's like a Minecraft car.
that's a really good. I love that. I don't even know what that game is, other than there are a lot of blocks.
They just
And
released
that
the
works.
movie. It's changing Hollywood.
Changing Hollywood.
Yeah. I know why this is popular and why people like it. You look at like a classic Defender, classic Bronco. These things they're soaring in price. It's like almost a zeitgeist in terms of car design. The problem I see, and this isn't specific to Subaru. I mean, I feel the same way with the Santa Fe. It's like we like the Defender because it's metal. Because it's like, it's robust, it's old school, but that's
we wouldn't like a
expensive,
plastic Defender.
So like we have plastic
we have.
Defender.
We have a plastic one now.
So
I have a Lego one.
you're saying that doesn't work on the Outback? The plastic cladding?
I don't think it works to the degree that they're trying. Like the
front of the Wilderness, I mean, if you see there, that like massive Subaru name spelled out, and they're going after like the Ford Raptor.
they're going after everybody with the spelled out name now.
It's just, it's a bold move.
Nobody
It's a
has
choice.
an emblem.
It's a choice. That's true.
I think it's important to not bias, but preferences. I'm a Subaru owner. I like Subaru. I like the brand. I like the people at the brand. I don't like this new direction that they're heading, and it seems so. The Forester, divisive when it was it 24 the Forester redesign.
Yeah. 20.
Divisive. I've actually warmed to that when I see it on the road. I think it looks pretty snazzy.
Subaru has a good track record with that too.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of times they release something and we say, oh, they went a little far here, and you give it a few years and
You see it in person. You see it literally everywhere.
That could be a New England thing too.
Yeah.
You literally
You
can't.
see so many of them. Confirmation bias.
Yeah, you're beaten into submission.
Which is why I'm curious, because like in photos, I don't love this Outback, and I especially don't love the Wilderness Outback. But like in person, Dave, does
the regular one works in person. It's
Okay.
perfectly fine. I think anyone who owns a Subaru Outback now and is listening to this and is like, oh God, what did they do? I think it's going to suit buyers. I think it's going to probably successfully do what Subaru wants in getting a little away from the wagon. It's like it's going to pull in a few more people who declined to get an Outback up until now because it was too wagon-ish and not, maybe as rugged as an SUV or crossover.
And for years,
But the Wilderness doesn't work.
for years, the Forester and Outback were kind of back and forth. Which one was the top seller? Did the Forester? I think the Forester
think
recently took the
established.
top
Yeah,
spot.
yeah, because I think
After the redesign for 25?
I don't know about that.
I think there's a pricing difference.
Yeah,
I think they're going to start to move the Outback a little more upmarket and kind of delineate.
Almost more like a Passport competitor. Maybe
Well, it's too small. Too
Right,
small to
right.
really compete with the Passport.
Volvo.
I will say that the rear 3/4 shot that we can put on the screen, that I still see quite a bit of wagon there. Like it has the length. It's not like super tall.
They just they sort of made the C and D pillars, which if you looked at sort of over your shoulder in the rear seats, and then the pillar behind that in the back. Those are more upright to be less.
I like how they've
works.
tweaked the roof rails. Do those still do the swing out?
Yeah, that's
one of the
a
best
feature.
features. Yeah.
Yes.
incredible feature.
So for those who don't know, it's got these crossbars on the roof. They fold into the what direction would
roof
that be?
rails,
The roof rails on the side of the vehicle when you're not using them, but then they unfold into position, which is such
Fantastic.
a great. Yeah. I want to jump to the inside of this car. The biggest change of the inside of the Outback. If anyone who's been in a recent Subaru across the entire lineup in the past, I don't know, something made in the past 5 years, will know that there's a massive screen sitting in the center of that
vertical
dashboard.
screen.
Tough screen.
No more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In
it
this
looks
Outback,
great.
they went back to the sort of traditional, if you'll call it, big screen on the top, but then physical buttons and knobs below it. And I feel so vindicated because I'm always like, it's
the constant refrain from anybody who reviews cars.
It's just like, why is everything a screen? Yeah, give us buttons. I mean, the Subaru previously, it did have some buttons for the temperature,
the volume up and down,
but this goes, and it's an interesting choice of like, I think a concession of like, okay, people want buttons.
Yes, but so the timing on it's interesting because the Forester, one of the reasons I also bought a Forester.
We're the two.
One of the reasons I bought the Forester instead of the Outback, which I had owned previously, was because the Forester still had kind of the traditional, mine's I think an 8-inch touch screen.
I have the smaller screen.
Sizes and everything. It's fine. And I liked that. I didn't want the vertical screen, but then Subaru just updated the Forester last year, put the vertical screen in it. 1 year later, the car that debuted with the big screen, the Outback, is going back to the landscape screen.
Yeah. Although it's almost like square. It looks in pictures.
Yeah.
It's not actually landscape or vertical.
No, it's not landscape at all. No,
it's a square screen.
But it's a big screen. It's like a nice, very functional. But it was just I felt. It's just, that's what I think people want. Just give me buttons. It's so much easier.
Well, they gave you buttons.
Yeah.
And maybe this leads into the next thing that Subaru is announcing today. But the screen in the Outback, that looks like just pure Subaru tech, right? Not like
the UI
the next car,
is
which
all
is
new.
clearly Toyota.
Right. Yeah. And like the UI is new. It comes with the screen. The instrument panel is also digital. So like that, all those sort of the processing and all that is new.
Yeah.
It looks great. It's modern. I mean, I think, and then size wise is the other thing. It really hasn't changed in size. I feel like people are like, so if you know the current Outback,
The dimensions of the
vehicle, the interior space. I sat in all the seats. I'm 6'1".
It's no taller.
You did mention increased headroom in the back row.
It didn't feel like it though.
And,
you don't get it in it. I remember getting in it and being like, this doesn't feel any different.
Okay.
Like they may have increased some things, but like in real world, seat of your pants, you're like, it's fine. It's not, you're like,
You said a little more.
Is it shoulder room?
Correct.
You said passenger
Is
space
that what I
in the
said?
second row
Glad I'm
and
paying
increased
attention to my own
headroom.
notes.
You know what you could do? You could
doesn't
go to
feel like it.
YouTube.
Watch the videos.
CarGurus YouTube and watch Dave's video.
Yeah.
It's a more brief video. I think it's 6 minutes. You get a good overview, a good walk around.
Get his first impressions.
Get his
versus
first impressions.
You can
now
see
having
some,
time
Now I've had some time to think
meditate
about it.
upon
Product
it.
planners in the background. Right?
Yeah. I mean, Subaru staff is
You can hear them chatting.
watching what I do. Make sure I don't scratch.
And hear the engine.
It was a prototype. They're like, don't slam the door closed.
This is it's not an Easter egg,
Fall
but
apart.
it's a little thing I noticed. In one shot, there's a guy who's just like very sternly staring, and I was like, oh.
I can't remember
That
his
must have been
name, but
hard
I saw
to
it. I was like,
film.
oh, I know that guy.
Well,
so
so
look out
here's
for
some
him.
inside baseball. When you go to these events, no one was driving this car, so they have a bunch of media to these events. They sit you down, they tell you all the details and give you some slideshows, and then they're like, all right, there's one of these that all 30 of you media folks now have 90 seconds to film, go. And so you're filming it, and there's what you can't see off camera is all of the other journalists sitting there with their arms crossed, just be like, hurry up.
I
So you're trying to get all the facts
Stressful.
and figures and like make sure you do it. It's and so
Plus, like your own analysis. Like they give you a lot of information, which is helpful.
but you need a tenth of what they tell you. You're like,
But then, like, it's up to you to actually sit in there and be like, okay,
Distill it.
actually, like these touch points are
Yes.
nice, or like the legroom, or like there's a plastic bit near the driver's knee, and you're gonna bang like that. They don't tell you that
No,
stuff.
no.
Like that's
So,
the job.
it's a lot of pressure. But I think we cranked out the videos. I think they're useful. Go check them
incredible.
out.
Go check them out. Give us a like. Give us a comment. Let us know you came from here if you did. That'd
There
be
you go.
exciting.
And if you own a Subaru.
Natalie, what do you got?
I have two things I want to ask about with that. So the interior looked nice for one thing, like the brown leather,
not
and the one you
demonstrably different than the other. I mean, it's not a luxury vehicle, but didn't feel cheap at the same time. Anyone who's been in a current Subaru, it will feel
like
exactly
a top
the same.
trim Outback currently. And then you mentioned the carpeted water bottle holder.
Oh,
Is
yeah,
that
that was
really
good.
a good thing?
It's
I
cool.
mean,
It's one of these things of just like
it prevents rattles, I guess.
people who hike were helping out in this car,
Yes.
and it's like one of these like
Yes, Matt.
you hear it in the marketing spiel ahead of time, and you're like, all right, whatever, and then you get in and you're like.
So
actually,
it
that's
is
really
good.
Smart. Yeah, no, it's like
Okay.
because most cars in this price point have the lower part of the door is hard plastic, and
Yep.
you put one of these in it, and it if you're driving, it's doing that, or just like even a little bit.
Great for audio.
This
Love that. That was good.
But this
Add
one,
that to the board of effects.
it's the plastic they have sort of lined with whatever you want to call it, carpet, and it just sort of snugly and it holds your water bottle.
Yeah.
It's quiet. I'm
amazing.
like, that's one of these like no one's obviously going to buy a car because of that, but you're like, you feel heard as a Subaru
Okay.
owner. Of like,
Okay.
that's kinda
I
cool.
can see
You're like,
Natalie's like anti-Alcantara
Yeah.
mind being like, but isn't it going to get gross?
I'm like, well, if you
I
only
think it
ever put
works.
water in that bottle, it's
Yeah.
fine.
And she's
But
like,
what about
if
my
I
iced
spill my
coffee?
coffee getting in? I'm very
Yeah,
nervous
well-
about this carpet and how you detail it.
But it's like, I mean, it's dark. It can get dirty. As someone who has, 2 little kids, we always have water bottles all over the car. It's like, I like this.
it's
Okay.
a Subaru. They're kind of hoping it gets dirty.
I'm glad you brought that up.
can't
'cause I've
hose it
forgotten
down.
that. It's a cool little feature.
For years, they've been like, oh, and we put rubber floor mats in because you can hose them down. And now there's carpet inside the door.
No, it's
like,
a good thing.
ugh.
I hear you. No,
Makes
it's a
me
good
nervous.
thing.
All right. So that was
Cool. Thank
your segment on the Outback. I
Yeah.
think that's the biggest thing of the show to us, maybe. But
But
like, actually, maybe not, because they're
depends on.
we're gonna move to the Solterra.
Well, can we skip over?
We
it?
can and go to
Hey,
the.
I want to go there. We'll do this in order of like headline news
Okay.
from Subaru.
Perfect.
The next thing is something called the Trailseeker.
Trailseeker.
All new. This doesn't exist. This is a totally new model for Subaru.
I love the name.
Yeah, great name.
It's a cool name.
Yeah,
I don't
Somebody
know.
was
It kinda
thinking
feels
hard.
Like you're lost.
it's all. no.
Like I, as someone who hikes, I have been the trail seeker.
You've been
where you're
seeking
saying
trails.
I stepped off for one moment to use the bathroom. I have no idea where
To
I
use
am.
the bathroom.
Looking for
Where are you hiking?
Wait, where are you hiking that there are bathrooms?
That's what I'm
I
saying.
think you're doing it wrong.
Matt, aren't we
I
all?
want to go hiking
The bathroom
there.
happens to look like a tree.
Aren't we all a little lost here and there?
I
true.
mean, and maybe Subaru's here to help us with that.
They're speaking to a moment in time.
They are.
where we're
Yeah.
all
We're right there with you, pal. We don't know where the trail is either.
Subaru's a vibes company, right?
I
We're
mean,
seeking
honestly,
trails.
it's why I keep buying them.
I know.
It's
So this is ready for the. Do we have a drum roll sound effect? I don't think so.
I have a rim shot.
No, I'm
not a
telling
drum roll.
jokes. I'll tell. We'll work out some
different
dad
part of the
jokes.
kit.
I know.
The Trailseeker all electric. And if you're listening, you're like, oh, wait, they already make an all electric. Yes, that's the Solterra, which is based on a Toyota product. This is a larger, I think it's still 2 rows of seats, larger all electric crossover from Subaru. All new.
Think of it maybe like a electric Outback.
Well, not in looks.
No.
This looks kind of you know what this reminds me of, and hopefully you can pull this up.
I wonder if we have the same thought.
The Toyota, I'm blanking on the name, Crown Signia.
Okay.
The wagon hybrid, $45,000 station wagon
Sure,
from
yeah.
kind of, this is like it's wagon-ish,
I-
sleek, sits up.
I see a Solterra, a new Solterra, which we'll get to, that has swallowed an Outback like a snake, and it hasn't completely digested it. So you still have the shape of the Outback, but the face of the Solterra.
Yeah, that's a good.
There we
Yeah,
go.
it's kind of a sleek upright sleek wagon-ish with some ground clearance.
The sleekness is
Yeah.
what's throwing me here. That looks very different from the design direction for the
Exactly.
Outback,
So
for
interesting that they're
example.
going more blocky with the Outback. And maybe that's deliberate, right? Of like, we want to differentiate our electric model from our gas
Yeah.
model.
You gotta
Yeah,
make it
that's a
slip
good
through
point.
the air.
This
You need to
looks
make
like
it slip through the air.
almost Mach-E-ish to me, or like that new Jaguar concept. Like they were like, maybe it's the blue a little bit.
Yeah, the blue.
too.
So we all have
But the
to,
high belt.
when
line.
I see front angle Solterra, but
For
from
sure.
the rear, I see Honda Prologue. Does anyone else kind of feel
I see
that
it.
a little bit?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm bored with
everyone
that.
today is doing those horizontal light bars,
Yeah.
so that
And
fits
the
in.
and the
spelled out.
hearse shape.
Yeah.
Spelled out name. Yeah.
I like it. I think it looks pretty
It
good. I
looks
think
good.
it's a nice combination of like sleek because it's an EV, but not like a Mercedes EQS, which looks
Yeah.
like a pill you
Yeah.
try to feed your dog.
So the
Right, like-
interior, though, still has Toyota.
So
Very-
Lexus,
well, very
actually.
So a
Solterra,
couple
yeah.
of things. They didn't have a Trailseeker on site, so I've
Right.
not seen this in person. Also, like the Solterra, this Trailseeker is based on a Toyota, and up until now, unreleased. This is sort of Toyota underpinnings, Toyota interior. I mean, this is largely Toyota made.
Tech.
Is Toyota coming out with their own version of this?
They
Or
have not said
Subaru
that.
beating them to the
I-
punch? with
Subaru's
this?
beating them to the punch.
Okay.
I have to think there will be a Toyota.
I wonder
so
what
they-
that'll
There's
be.
no way
named.
they do this. Yeah.
It's a little small in the picture I have here, but the temperature knobs on the inside of the
Oh, they're the
Solterra,
Lexus ones.
they have the Lexus where it's
No
like blue and
way.
red, and it's digital
Or
inside the
Mach-E.
knob.
I didn't
which
even notice that.
I love that.
It's a very cool feature. Yeah.
But it has the weird driver display, which I
Yeah.
don't love. I've
Yeah.
been in
tiny
Yeah.
screen right in front of the driver, a weird shaped steering wheel.
Looks like we have dual smartphone chargers.
Yeah,
One
That's in the Solterra too, a new
Yeah.
feature. So you and your partner or spouse can both charge wirelessly.
Can both
your
cook
cell
your phones
You
at
can
the
both,
same time.
you can both overheat your phone together. Good call or good notice. That's there. So some details on this. Let's see. It is the range is what 260 miles.
Yeah. So is it the same powertrain stuff as the Solterra?
No, I don't think it is. So 375 horsepower in the Trailseeker.
Oh, that's pretty beefy.
260 miles of range.
That's beefy.
74 kilowatt hour battery. Can tow up to 3,500 pounds.
This is a pretty impressive package you're describing.
Yeah, well, it'll also come down to pricing. They haven't said anything about pricing.
$1 million.
$1 million. 6 inches longer. Stop laughing. An inch taller.
Natalie's losing it
Sorry,
over
6
here.
inches longer than the Solterra. So it's just sort of a bigger, more family friendly. They also have 0 to 60 in 4.3 seconds. I don't know why we're still. So that's fast. I don't know why that's still a thing. Charging speed, 150 kilowatt charging speed. It's pretty good.
I feel like if you're an EV and you're not like a Tesla Plaid, like just don't
They're
talk
all fast.
Yeah,
It's
just
all
like,
EVs
you're
are
like
fast.
it's quick.
They're all fun
quick.
up to the speed limit.
Quick
so.
and fast. Yeah.
It's faster than all the other Subarus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You win.
Yes.
And Tesla charging standard.
Yeah, and that's one of
Yes.
also on the Solterra, like many automakers now, is that we were in this sort of VHS versus Betamax phase where like everyone had their own kind of not proprietary, but their type of charger they liked. And then last year the floodgates opened and all automakers were like, all right, we're just doing Tesla because
Next.
the supercharging network is far more robust than any other company. And I think actually Tesla was required by the government in order to get some sort of like subsidy or incentive.
I knew that
they had
in
to open a
Europe,
certain
at
number of their
least.
chargers to the public.
Yeah.
So now you can plug in using called the NACS, sort of it's the new industry standard. They're all going to have
North
that.
American charging standard.
Yeah.
This is a diversion,
Max.
but is that riling Tesla owners' feathers that now
They
their
have to
plentiful
share.
chargers
Oh, really?
are being
Yeah.
shared with everything?
Because that was like the
Proletariat
moat.
had access to
That
their
was
chargers.
that was like
That was
one of the key advantages of getting a Tesla is that you knew you had a huge, great access to charging infrastructure that you didn't have to share.
Yeah.
With other people. And so, I think it is. Because you go, look, I live in LA, I live in Pasadena, you go to a charging station and there'll be like 30 supercharging stations with like 2 or 3 Teslas parked and then like 2 of the others.
Yeah.
And there's like a line for all the cars trying to wait and everyone's like annoyed. And usually one of the 2 is not working properly or it's not syncing to people's credit cards. And so this is like, let's open it up. So if I were a Tesla owner, I'd be a little annoyed.
So 10 years from now, 15 years from now, do the other ones exist, or is everything going to become this Tesla charger?
I think everyone, you just have an adapter and everything becomes a Tesla
Have
charger.
you guys used a Tesla charger yet?
I have not.
Yeah.
You have.
Yeah.
So the only hesitation I have is that like my dad would just lose his mind because you have to use the app.
Yes.
It's like that's
My
going to be a big
father-in-law
hurdle
is the
for
same
some-
age
Yeah.
and has a Tesla and has adapted quite quickly to the app because you know what
so
else
the
you
app
can,
is good.
well, you know what else you can do from the app? You can make your car fart on the Tesla.
Well,
so
there you go.
when you're
Yeah.
a 75-year-old boomer and you've got 9-year-old grandsons, my nephews, you're on there a lot.
So
You're
that's
like-
the use case.
yeah,
It makes
and then
sense now.
So then you're familiar with it and you can charge your car.
I will say I used it with a Rivian, had the adapter for the Rivian.
Check out the review
and it
for
did
that.
work. It worked so well.
Yeah.
Like I mean, we've all sat for cumulatively many hours at Electrify
Yeah.
America or EV
Charge
Go,
Point.
Charge Point.
Yeah.
these
Because none of
chargers.
us have chargers, yet we
And-
get press cars that are electric and we have to figure out how to charge them.
And they all use different apps.
Yeah.
And I feel like the payment structure is
Well-
always a little different on them.
Because you have to pay, there's a name for it. You have to pay at the point of charging, right? You have to like scan your card or your
And it auto
what the-
reloads.
Yeah, ChargePoint
auto-
wants
yeah.
to like Starbucks
But
instead of
what makes Tesla so
charging
popular is
every
that there's no point of sale at the charger. You're not, and so that removes a component that is always breaking, and so everything is sort of automated. And I mean, Tesla chargers are so much more reliable. So so this Trailseeker, you can seek a trail right to your Tesla charging.
Seek a
Where is
So the
that
Trailseeker,
trail?
that you said the Solterra also has this.
Yeah,
So let's use that to bridge
is
into
that
the
our
Solterra.
segue? Yeah,
Yeah.
Solterra.
Can we talk about
Solterra.
its face?
The Solterra's face?
Yeah.
Well, I do. Okay, yes, please.
So, like, have you seen Rocky? You've seen a Rocky movie, towards
seen
the
it.
end where the fight is
Familiar.
ending and like he can't look out the eyes. He's all swollen.
I can't see the trail from
You think
this.
that's what the Solterra
Yeah,
looks like?
I kind of like the look of the Solterra overall. I think that removing big black plastic cladding they had over the wheels and giving it a body color.
That's still available on, I don't know if it's a trim or certain colors.
I think you said like black, white, and gray were no cladding.
Black, white, and gray.
The others were.
I'm glad you listened to my video because I didn't. So big change on the Solterra. The Solterra is the smaller all-electric vehicle that's been out for a few years. It's the same as the Toyota BZ4X, the worst named vehicle on the planet.
Beyond Zero.
I can never remember which
4X.
letters are capitalized.
I mean, 4X, but I'm pretty sure not standard all-wheel drive. So I don't know what the 4X is supposed to stand for. Four
Just
doors?
4 times.
4 doors?
The Solterra was standard.
The Solterra keeps the Subaru all-wheel drive, but the BZ4X was available.
So they were these platform mates. Subaru changed for this sort of mid-cycle update, made a lot of changes to the Solterra. It went from a overpriced, underperforming electric vehicle to one that I think is now pretty compelling. They sort of hit all of the sort of what you expect as a consumer out of your EV, right? Let's see.
The boost in range and charging speed are both
faster
so
charging
welcome.
speed, more horsepower, better range by
much better range.
So horsepower is now 233 horsepower. It was 215. Charging goes from 100 kilowatts to 150 kilowatts.
Huge.
And then range was between 222 miles and 227, kind of depending on wheels and all that. It's now what?
Close to 300.
It's like 300. They don't have the exact numbers, but it's around 300.
Yeah.
That sort of solves all of the issues. And they haven't announced pricing, but they're not going to jack it up.
Yeah. And is the battery roughly 75, 77 kilowatt hours?
I mean, it's probably not. It's larger. 80.
Oh, it's 80.
80.5.
So the Solterra has a bigger battery than the Trailseeker?
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
But so this now makes and they're going to add an XT trim to the Solterra, which will be pretty good. So XT, for those who don't know, is like
a turbocharger on the motors.
XT is Subaru's like slightly faster version, like on the Outback we were talking about.
Yeah.
The XT is the one with a turbo. So it'll have 338 horsepower.
Wow.
Welcome to the club, Solterra. You're now a compelling, compact, all-electric crossover.
And it feels...
and you look a lot different.
It feels like a Subaru, too. Like, we both drove the first gen. And I know you've driven the BZ4X. I don't know if
I had the Solterra
you've done
for
the Solterra as well.
like 3 weeks over the holidays, and it was a bad ambassador for EVs at the time because I was spending time with my in-laws and they were like, well, I would never buy an EV. And I was like, first of all, you would have a charger at your house if you did buy an EV.
But I don't have a charger.
This one's not a great representative for driving to the Cape from Boston. And
we both drove it in the dirt plenty.
Yeah, got it.
And the BZ4X doesn't feel like uniquely Toyota like the Solterra feels pretty Subaru
which is ironic because it's not
which is ironic.
It's built by Toyota. Yeah.
So
I think they've done a nice job.
Speaking of Toyota, I know.
And they restyled it. So for those who are not watching this, the Solterra also looks better, more normal, mainstream.
So I know you don't know this, but do you think the BZ4X is it also going to get a similar general upgrade, just like this did?
That'd be weird if.
So is the BZ4X going to have the same kind of redesign and just replace the Subaru with the
Toyota hasn't told us anything yet.
I think the powertrain changes they would make. Didn't they show a European version of the BZ4X? The exterior really didn't change all that much. I would hope that they would make the same powertrain changes because neither of these EVs were that competitive.
Well, and it's
previously,
given that it's a joint partnership. It's a pretty raw deal for Toyota if they don't get to.
There's no way they would agree to that. We're getting the good stuff too. But so the Solterra looks better. I'm like, all right, good to have you. Why wasn't it like this when you first came out with it? Because it got so much guff for having a low range and high price.
First generation. You never buy the first gen, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes
now we know why.
Okay, so that's Subaru.
That's Subaru. Yeah,
we did a lot of Subaru. Subaru's doing big stuff.
Yeah, everyone with golden retrievers is really excited right now.
Or golden doodles.
Golden doodles, black labs, as my folks have. Yeah.
So congrats to Subaru on the releases. They're going to sell huge, I'm sure. So let's move on to the other video that, again, is available on CarGurus right now. Another big redesign for a big popular vehicle, the Palisade from Hyundai, Hyundai's Palisade. 2026.
Yeah.
Brand new look, full redesign.
Boy. Yeah. So
again, I know some of us have thoughts.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Matt.
Some of those thoughts are wrong. That's okay.
I've got thoughts.
We're supportive here. So for background, Palisade, it's a 3-row crossover from Hyundai. Came out in 2019 as a 2020. Blew the market, blew everyone's doors off. it was styled well.
Yep.
It was a good value, had tons of space, like a true 3-row where like tall people can sit in all the rows. Really sort of shook up the 3-row crossover segment. They also, then there's the Kia Telluride is sort of its kissing cousin, right?
Yep.
They're basically the same vehicle on the inside.
Mechanically identical.
Identical. So, and then like as a response, then, you saw the Honda Pilot got a little bit bigger. Toyota now has the Grand Highlander. Like it sort of was like, here is kind of a new, paradigm. So now we have an all new generation.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. I mean, Hyundai is swinging for the fences in the styling of this thing.
Hyundai and Kia both
Going big.
they go crazy with their lighting. I feel like that's the biggest
And
signature for
wheels.
those two brands.
Yep.
Is the wheels and the DRLs
Yep. Yeah.
and the LED lighting.
So if you are not looking at this podcast, when you do get home, go look up the 2026 Hyundai Palisade. It is a huge departure in terms of style. I like it. It looks great in person. I think particularly the rear end. I'm seeing Land Rover, Range Rover taillights in that sort of shape.
I don't
I don't think that's an accident.
I thought that was the thing you liked least was the taillights.
No,
Because
I
that's
don't
like the
mind
most
taillights.
distinctive
The
part.
big thing for me, and we've got two of them that we're looking at here. We've got this green one and this tan
So
one.
it's the
top one,
XRT.
the tannish one is the XRT.
That's the XRT. So there's a new off-roadish trim. Now has more ground clearance. Has those tow hooks you can see.
I like the look. I
it's
like
the
the look
XRT
of that one a lot
Pro.
more.
XRT Pro.
That's
correct.
the new
Okay.
part
Yes.
of it, right?
Yeah.
Because the XRT existed.
Right. And this is like, this actually has like, before it was more of like an appearance package.
Yeah.
Now with the XRT
It's
Pro,
real.
there is some real
There's some stuff.
There's different driving modes. It sits up taller
Yeah.
or more ground clearance, has those tow hooks. But anyway,
This flashier trim. Well, first off, and this goes for every Hyundai. You guys got to cool it with the wheels. Like
Wheels,
you don't like their wheels?
Oh my goodness, the wheels are they're extra. They're very extra.
Some of them work.
You know what works?
Do you- or-
You ever,
these
you ever
these
see
two.
like a classic 911 with Fuchs wheels? You know, just
Yeah.
5
Yeah.
Why not? Those were great. Did we just decide
You
we
want-
didn't like the simple wheels? These look like they have about 400 spokes on them.
On the green car?
On the green.
Oh,
On
I
That's
like
the
those.
calligraphy. Right?
Yeah, it's like the
Yeah.
highest
I
end.
don't hate those for
Oh, I like those.
the
The other-
blingiest trim.
The other thing with calligraphy, we have the rear quarter. What is that? The D pillar,
Mhm.
or it's a different color. It's kind of like almost like a satin chrome
Yeah.
look.
Yeah.
All I see is the GMC Envoy XUV that had like the big rails coming down it.
Oh.
It feels tight. Feels like the it's encroaching on the rear window a little bit.
Okay.
I
What
do.
about
I
the
mean,
front? What do you think of the front of it?
it's just a little busy.
Okay.
The thing I think most of with the outgoing Palisade is that front is just, it's too much.
There is an argument
a lot.
against the current Palisade's
Yeah.
front as well.
Which we just did.
Yeah.
Well, I filmed you did the review of the 2025 Palisade. Was it the Calligraphy Night Edition?
it was
Everything
yeah.
was blacked out. I thought that looked incredible.
And-
but the normal Palisade with the chrome or the silver front grille,
But even
Too
on,
much.
Even on that one, they do this thing where they kind of camouflage the Hyundai emblem within the grill.
Yeah.
And they don't have that here. Now the emblem is sitting above the grill. It feels like a little, like, when you buy like a Lego car set and they give you the decals for the grill. It has a little bit of that vibe to it. I don't mind the lighting signature. I think the headlights are big and they look extremely bright.
I think they look like almost concept-y. Like,
It
is it
does.
really going to hit the roads looking like
I mean,
that?
this is
Those
a production
DRLs
models. Yeah,
are,
this is
yeah.
it. This is
It's-
how it's going to be.
I mean,
There's a-
that's really cool. Like,
there's a very thin, subtle light bar.
Yeah.
that goes
the-
through the grill.
Yeah.
Yep.
the light
Good
bar
catch.
is
I like the
so
light bar.
slim, and the DRLs are so big. It just feels a little bit out of whack. But like, I think it looks cool.
I wonder
I mean,
how it'll
it's
look
a
at
choice.
night.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is, no one is going to buy this and want to blend in. Like, this is a choice that, and that's going to turn some buyers off. They're like, look, I just want a 3-row crossover
Yeah.
for $55,000. Like,
And
I
a
don't
lot of
need
it
all
is
this.
similar to what they're doing with the Ioniq 9 too, with like that cam back shape again,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
very Range
Yeah.
Rover-y.
Yeah, and it feels more in line now with the Santa Fe. It's not as extreme as the Santa Fe. But
Yeah.
The Santa Fe
before
was
it
a
was like
wild-
the Santa Fe was, it's completely different design language.
Different
and now
from
you can
Hyundai.
see a lot more
Oh, I still think it's
similarity.
super different. I think I see. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I don't see a strong brand.
How do you feel about the Santa Fe? How the look?
It's like so close. There's something about the proportions or like its stance that like I want a little, like an inch higher and a little bit bigger wheel.
Yeah.
It's so close. It looks diminutive in a bad way. The current. It's like a little more ground clearance, bigger wheel or tire.
I completely.
You're
it's
there.
like
You're so close.
you show me it in the initial photos, and I'm saying, "Oh, this is pretty cool." And
Yeah.
then you see it in real life, and you're like, it's like uncanny valley. Something's just a little
It's just
off.
a smidge.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're so close.
I feel like in person it looks a little bit less or a lot less like a ripoff of the Defender than I thought it would when I saw photos in advance.
It's
but
softer in person than you think. It
Yeah,
like
but-
has a little more slope to the roof.
I
Yeah.
guess.
Yes.
And then all the H's everywhere, that bugs me a lot. Like the tail lights and then the little H's in the tail lights.
Yeah,
It's-
the Sonata and the Santa Fe really lean into that. But this
This is a whole new direction.
This has none of that H.
And it's bigger, which
just
so
a
it's
different
what,
Land Rover.
Yeah.
This new Palisade 2.5 inches longer. The wheelbase is 2.7 inches longer. I will say, getting in it and sitting in all the seats, it doesn't feel that much bigger.
Yeah, that's
It's like
How's the third row? You're
Fine.
You're 6'1".
6'1", and so what my sort of testing, I set the driver's seat to where I have it, and then I set the middle seat to where I would want it, and then I see if I could still comfortably be in the third row. Yes, but it's not like I'm stretching out in a limo. Like I actually frankly expected a little more space, given how big it is and how much it grew. You're like, all right, it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like 2 and a little inches, that doesn't sound a lot to most folks. Like the average consumer is going to hear that and be like, oh, so it's slightly larger. Particularly when it's added to the wheelbase.
Yeah.
That's a big jump.
It's a big jump, and so the wheels are now sort of more in the corners of it. Another big news for this Palisade, you can now get a hybrid.
Yeah.
So you have the gas
that.
engine is
Especially
largely
for a huge vehicle.
Yeah. So the gas engine itself is all new. You go from a 3.8 liter, it's a little smaller now. It's now a 3.5 liter, 287 horsepower V6. Perfect. Yeah, get the job done.
Yeah.
8-speed automatic transmission. It can tow 5,000 pounds like it used to. But now if you want some fuel economy heaped on top of that, you can get the hybrid. So it's a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder turbo and an electric motor, 329 horsepower total, 6-speed automatic transmission. And they're saying combined fuel economy, freeway and city, is 34 miles per gallon.
Holy smokes.
That's compelling.
For a
Pretty awesome.
huge
That's
crossover
compelling.
like that with the families inside and the dog and all your stuff, that's like,
So it's more powerful and more efficient
yeah.
and more expensive.
Yeah,
was
they
gonna
haven't
say-
announced pricing, but it will be more.
Yeah.
But that's a really compelling, because like the Grand Highlander, the Toyota, you can get, that's a hybrid, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think,
Two different versions of hybrid.
Hybrid
right? There's a
Max
hybrid and a
and-
hybrid
Yeah,
Max.
Yeah.
right. So I think, this, you hear, we are all asked all the time, what car should I buy? And then usually the second or third question is, well, do they make a hybrid when you recommend a model? And I think this is like very compelling, because this is going to answer or tick a lot of boxes for people of like, cool, I can have my cake and eat it too, right?
Agreed. Definitely.
And I will say, I mean, regardless of how you feel about how the current Palisade drives, looks, or the current Telluride looks, I think we all agree, like in terms of that class of vehicle, the larger 3-row crossover SUV, terrific driving vehicle. Good
Yeah,
to
terrific.
sit in.
It
great
does
drive-
everything.
Yeah,
I mean, this
does
is the one. It's been since the Palisade and the Telluride came out. It's been the one to beat. If you don't want to go full SUV like a Tahoe, this has sort of been the benchmark.
Without fail, whatever list you look at, 1 and 2 are Telluride Palisade.
And this
unless you have a
going to
boat,
keep that.
you don't want to go Tahoe.
That's a whole nother. Yes, I mean, this still can tow 5,000 pounds. That's a lot of stuff. Like,
Matt, what was that metric you used? Was it a number of elephants?
Number of elephants, yeah.
How many elephants is 5,000 pounds?
I want to say it's like maybe
2.5?
It might be 2. Hold on.
No, I think that's like
African
one
elephant, Indian elephant.
Oh, see now,
Might be baby elephants.
I was
Baby elephants are like
Baby
1,200 pounds. I think.
Yeah. The biggest African elephant can weigh up to 15,000 pounds.
That's
you're,
15,000?
you're gonna need
You can't
you're gonna
tow
need
an
a
elephant with this.
heavy duty pickup.
Yeah.
okay,
for
so
that.
no elephant towing.
Yeah.
Like a 3,500.
Are there any hints, any rumors of the brother sister to this, the Telluride? Is it getting a redesign this year? Is it getting a hybrid this year?
I don't know. I mean, the powertrains are going to be. There's no way they don't do the same.
It'll
I
be
don't
interesting
know
to see that.
styling.
So as you noted, we're recording in advance.
Sure. Oh, thank you should have said that at the top, but yes, please say.
And we do know that Kia is at the New York Auto Show today / in the future. All we know that is going to be there for them is the EV4, which we've seen in concept.
Which you've seen
I saw in Korea as
production.
a concept.
Oh, as a concept. Okay.
As a concept.
That's
they
their
brought it to
small
LA
all-electric
either this
sedan.
past year or the year before that auto show. So it's been in concept form in the States before. When I saw it, it had coach doors. It's a very dramatic looking vehicle. The coach doors aren't going to make it. I'm pretty sure we've already seen it with kind of standard 4-door.
Yeah.
It's a sedan, but does not look like any sedan on the market today. It's a very long, sloped rear deck. It's very interesting. That's one where, because we're recording in advance, our audience is going to be as familiar with what it looks like as we are at this point.
Just to set the table, this is a compact all-electric sedan from Kia. It sort of will complement the
Ioniq 6,
the K4. In their lineup, it's like the K4 is their gas car.
Oh, sure.
And this will,
EV6.
same size.
Although it
EV6.
it looks, at least the concept looks
like where
longer
Hyundai or where
longer
Kia-
than the K4. Very interesting
but
looking
same
vehicle.
kind of styling playbook. Where Kia is going in their styling, I'm like, careful, guys. It's too much right now.
I like the K4.
Angular,
I
aggressive.
do not like the K.
Interesting.
Nope.
It's the lighting again. They're going crazy. They're sharp. And
It's
sometimes
just
sharp
sort
is
of all
cool,
of
but
it's
sometimes
like the
it's too much.
dimensions don't work. Their wheels are on the test. I had a K4 a couple weeks ago. The wheels were weird. It just, the dimensions don't, the proportions, the taillights, it just looks too robotic. And I think when you've got something like a Honda Civic in the same segment, I just, the Civic is like a classy, more traditional looking. And like maybe people want that. They want something bold, and it's a great vehicle. Kia and Hyundai.
Yeah.
If someone's listening and you haven't driven in one or don't own one, but are wondering about them, both of those companies are hitting home runs right now in terms of the quality, the reliability, the execution. They make good stuff. I would,
And
always
still,
recommend them.
not that we're trying to sell them, but
No, we're not. I mean,
a
buy
killer
whatever you want.
warranty.
Oh yeah, 10-year warranty. Yeah. So just like for context, I think it's
powertrain warranty, 10-year powertrain.
Yeah.
But even
Good stuff.
the next one, whatever that is, it's 5
I
year.
think it's 5 years,
which most is
60,000
3.
miles. Better,
so.
better than competitors. The other thing, and this is true of the K4, I suspect it'll be true of the EV4, regardless of how the packaging looks. It's pretty smart in terms of interior space. So the K4 has more rear seat legroom than most of its competitors. I think the Elantra is the only one that matches it, which is essentially the same car. And it's pretty big trunk as well. I think maybe it's not class leading there, but if you're more practically minded, they're good options.
Yeah.
You can get the sedan and you're not compromising on space, right?
Yeah.
Like,
The EV4 is
practicality.
just like such a dramatic looking vehicle. I want to know like what the audience thinks about it.
Yeah.
If we can do a little
Yeah.
call to action.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a choice.
It's-
That's a choice.
it's
'Cause,
a-
like, look at
it's a choice.
the front. The way the sort of the grill kind of protrudes a little bit, and then
but then it drops off.
the rear 3/4. Again, it's a choice.
Yeah, it's
So
like
we'll
the
see.
middle is the EV6, but then they have like the tail is
Yeah,
Which was my
They're,
favorite
like,
part of the
shooting
EV6.
out, yeah.
But they do a little bit of that ducktail at the back.
Yeah.
They're really leaning into let's make our cars look electric. Like let's make
Even
them
the
look
ones that
like the
aren't.
future. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
almost some like Polestar in here with the angles and the high.
yeah. I want to know what consumers think.
Yeah.
Or listeners think.
Yeah, let us know.
Go look up the EV4.
Yeah.
Is it yay or nay?
I will also, again, on
Let us
YouTube,
know if you're.
it'll be there. So you've seen it if you're watching on YouTube, but let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are the big releases we knew about that we were able to comment on. All right, everybody, breaking news. We got late breaking news from Kia, so we're jumping into the episode. Hopefully that's not too jarring. If you're an audio listener, I could have said nothing and you would have never known. But if you're a video watcher, that's why Matt and I look a little different. We're missing some colleagues, okay? So we don't have our wonderful Natalie Harrington. We don't have our wonderful Dave Undercoffler. But on the third mic, on the other mic, we still have Matt Smith.
the third mic. Is there a second mic?
Well, that would be the fourth mic.
Oh, I'm always on the fourth mic.
I guess I could have said the second mic or the fourth mic. They both would have been correct. The third mic was the only one that was wrong.
Feels nice to have the space. I'll be honest. I miss our friends,
Yeah.
our friends and colleagues, but
We can really stretch out
Yeah, that's
here.
right.
You can take the mic and lean back,
Oh, that's
rest a little
kind
bit.
of my move.
Just kind of leisurely discussions. I'm going to stay here though, but you do you.
Maybe I'll hang out back here.
I'm happy for you to do you.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
Interestingly, all of this is sort of breaking news because we are releasing this on the day of the New York Auto Show's
true. It's true.
media events.
We could have done this quietly behind the scenes, but we want to let you know what's happening.
Transparency.
Okay?
It's one of the tenets that CarGurus is built
It's
on.
one of the core values.
So Kia has confirmed we are seeing the EV4, This is the electric K4 competitor, kind of looks like a K4 mixed with an EV6. It's going to be built on the eGMP platform, which is the same thing you get under the EV6, but also the Hyundai Ioniq 5, Ioniq 6, and the Genesis GV60. That means fast charging, really reliable 400 volt architecture. And they're going to have 2 battery options with it. A smaller battery, 58.3 kilowatt hours, and a larger one, 81.4, should give you an estimated max range of 330 miles. One of the things I like about the max range version, it comes with smaller wheels. So the larger the wheel, the more rolling resistance you have on the tire, reduces your range. So the long range EV4, it's going to have little 17-inch wheels.
Little 17s.
But yeah, definitely looks peculiar. What do you think? What do you think about the looks?
The EV4, so the EV6, when it first came out, it looked cool, right? It was like the first car that we had seen like that. But then it felt very electric, right? Like, we're doing an electric car, we're going to make it look electric. But then other automakers have come out with their EVs, and they look a little bit more normal, a little bit less like DeLorean-like.
This does not look normal.
This is not that. Kia is really just continuing their EV numeral line. They're continuing kind of the vibe, the feel of the 6 into the 4. So it's just a smaller 6.
Yeah. It's interesting. It looks from the outside like the belt line, the where the windows hit, is gonna feel pretty high on the inside. You know, it's gonna feel like you're driving one of those older Mercedes where it was like, you know, these big slab sided, but it is so sleek, and the exterior gives it, you know, it has that high belt line, but it almost looks as if it's high because the whole car has been not like squashed, but it's very low slung. So like, note the charging port door and how it includes a little bit of the trim from the wheel well. It's that compact, and then it has that stretched look to it. I mean,
there's a lot of weight in the back, right? So like from the front to the driver's door, it feels pretty normal, but then it kind of, it almost feels like it really lengthens in the back. Like, there's a lot of rear end to this car.
It's got that fastback design, but it's very long fastback.
I think it looks cool. Again, the wheels
are something.
The wheels are something. They're going crazy. They just keep doing this Ninja Star kind of look on the wheels.
Yeah.
And the rear end looks a little confused, I think. Like, the kind of the deck lid spoiler is very high up. And there's just a lot of rear happening on this EV4.
It doesn't look like an SUV. It doesn't look like a minivan, but the proportions are, and like kind of the silhouette are not so far off, because the rear, that deck lid spoiler is almost at roof level, and it's significantly higher than the front edge of the nose of the car. I think it's particularly striking. But striking isn't necessarily going to be viewed as attractive. Sure. It really depends on your perspective.
I think it looks good. When you see an EV6 on the road, it turns your head. That's right. It hasn't been normalized yet, because I don't see EV6s all that often.
I don't see them nearly as often as I see the Ioniq counter.
I see the Ioniq 5 all the time. So yeah, the EV6 is still a little bit more rare, and I wonder if this EV4 will bring that price down a little bit. I assume. Have they mentioned pricing?
I don't think we have pricing yet. That does seem like a reasonable assumption. I mean, it is supposed to be kind of the electric counterpart of the K4, which we're going to get into. But then again, it's also an electric car. Like, I don't think these are going to be inexpensive.
No, but it's got to be cheaper than the EV6.
Well, it could be like an Ioniq 6 versus Ioniq 5 situation.
Sure.
Now, we're not sure on the looks, but I think one car we can agree on, the EV9, is a good-looking SUV.
It's been good-looking, and I almost think the EV9 being larger gives more space for those creases and really aggressive EV styling cues to have a little bit more breathing room. So I think the EV9 is far more successful, visually at least, than the EV6. And I like the EV6, but I love the EV9.
I love the EV9.
Yeah. EV9's awesome.
You know, it's so easy now to just say like, oh, it's the electric Telluride, but it's not. It's kind of got like more muscle and size to it. I think it's really sharp. And there is a new Nightfall edition.
Right. Tell me about the Nightfall. Releasing
today with the New York Auto Show. So it's built on the Land all-wheel drive trim. So let's get it out of the way. It's going to be expensive. The Land all-wheel drive trim starts at $69,900. So expect the Nightfall edition to be in the low to mid $70,000 range. Sure. It is built in, I think, Georgia is where their factory is for these. So it should qualify for that $7,500 federal tax credit as long as those remain available. And now so Kia teased out some news in the LA Auto Show about the EV9 GT.
Okay.
It's going to be the fast version. We have an EV6 GT. Right. It's really fast. Also doesn't get very good electric range. But
that's not the point either. The point is push that boost button and get going.
Sure. This is a little different. Sure. So the Nightfall edition isn't the EV9 GT, but it does add that boost button. So you do get up to 579 pound-feet of torque. Good for 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. And we were just talking about this car's size. I think that's going to feel really fast.
Does a car that big need to go that fast? That's the question we asked with the F-150 Lightning, the Hummer EV. Like, do these cars need to be as fast as they are? And the answer is probably no. But man, they're fun.
Well,
they're fun.
The answer is no. I mean, definitively the answer is no. And when you get into the EV space and you consider how heavy these things are, particularly you look at like the GMC Hummer, and that 1,000+ pound-feet of torque. Like, no, that car, that truck weighs 10,000 pounds. Yeah. You should need a special license to drive it. That said, while the answer is no, once you've experienced it, the answer really becomes why not?
Yeah.
It is exhilarating.
It's a treat.
Just drive safely, folks.
It really is.
So the Nightfall edition, we're going to have a new exterior color called Road Rider Brown. Although the shade we're seeing in the images that Kia has shared with us is white. We'll show those up on the screen. And then on the inside, it's an all-black scheme that kind of matches the Nightfall name. And I actually think the quilting on the seats looks pretty interesting.
Looks interesting. It's almost like a hashtag or like a tic-tac-toe board.
Yeah, tic-tac-toe. I was thinking it's like a Tetris map.
It's interesting. I wonder if you'll be able to feel those lines. Like some leather seats with the crazy stitching, the CX-50, you can like feel that thick middle in your back. I wonder if you'll be able to like feel this.
Yeah, I mean it looks cozy to me. It looks comfy, squishy, an overstuffed chair.
Kia interiors, I think they go for the futuristic look, but I think their interiors work.
They do. They're given the price tag on the EV9. I do feel like that it's a little too dependent on hard kind of plastic feeling materials. Kia will tell you, they're all
recycled.
Yeah, recycled materials, which is great. I'm all for that. But it doesn't change the fact that I spent $75,000 on a SUV, and it feels like I'm, sitting in the same interior as you get in like a Kia K4, which brings us
to the K4.
There we go. So I think this is, for the average shopper, this is the biggest news from Kia.
Yeah. So the K4 debuted as a sedan recently. Was it a 25 or 24? It was. I think it was this year.
It might have been a 24 though.
Maybe you can check me on that. It's a recent. It replaced. What did it replace? The Forte?
It replaced the Forte.
Okay, so it's the Forte is no more. The K4 is now, up until this point, it's only been a sedan. And Matt, you were actually on the drive program where it was first introduced, and people had thoughts.
Yeah, so it did release as a 25, and I did drive it. I think we were in Texas driving this. Always nice to go down to Texas, especially during the winter. It has an interesting design. We just heard, Dave and I just argued about whether it's good looking or bad looking. Yeah. I think it's divisive. It's striking. I don't think it's objectively bad looking, but as we were knowing before, Kia's, they're going for it with their design. And the K4 sedan, it's similar ways to the EV4 that we were just discussing. Some people are going to love it. Some people are not going to love it. Right. One thing I will say, It's pretty good packaging. So you get a good amount of trunk space, good amount of rear seat legroom. But the news for today is the K4 is being released as a hatchback. Now, this is the first time the K4 has been there we go. First time the K4 has been available as a hatchback, or I should say Kia has offered a compact hatchback since the 2018 Forte 5.
Okay.
So the Forte is what the Kia K4 replaced.
Right.
There was a Rio 5 in 2023, but that's a subcompact. And frankly,
That's old Kia.
I would not.
We're a new era.
I never would have recommended a Rio to somebody. I would actually recommend a K4, and particularly by the looks of it, this K4 hatchback. I think it looks really good.
I think it looks good too. So the K4 sedan, people didn't love. They thought I heard a lot about the rear end looking a little confused, jumbled. This rear end is looking sharp. So the taillights, it has that kind of full width light bar. Maybe it doesn't light up the whole way, but it's a cohesive element. But they come down in like almost like a snake bite. Like the fangs are coming down the side. It looks super sharp. And we just talked about the EV line, the EV4, EV6, EV9. And I think they go a little far aggressively into the electric. And if it makes sense, Kia is actually a little bit more reserved on the K line, and I think it looks nice.
Yeah, I agree. I like the little black panel that we have on the rear quarter panel there that gives it a little bit of that floating roof look. I think the rear view, it still has kind of those haunches, that wide-hipped look that you get out of the K4 sedan, but you're missing that super long like boat tail that's coming off the back, and
it just works a little bit better overall as an overall package, which I think most of us prefer the hatch to the sedan. Honestly, right?
It looks like something that they would sell in Europe, and we would complain about not getting in the United States.
Is this is a global release, right? This didn't exist before today. You're excused. Like this wasn't like a Europe had it and now we're getting it, right? This is all brand new.
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know.
Well, I'm asking the hard hitting questions here.
That's a great question.
I'm just like you said, I'm so used to Europe having like the cool, sleek version of something, and then we get the little more basic version.
We get the stuff that they think is going to sell here. Sure. And historically, hatchbacks haven't sold here super well. Now, there are some exceptions. I mean, Subaru has been offering the Impreza as a hatchback for a long time. Honda is back with the Civic hatchback, which I think is spectacular. Yep. Toyota still has a Corolla hatchback. I don't know who buys it. They sell a lot of Corollas. I just don't see a ton of Corolla
hatchback, and it's a cool looking car.
You like it?
I do.
It kind of looks like a little pod to me.
It does.
Like almost like it was dropped from above, and it's like widened out at the base.
Yeah, it has a little
towards the roof.
It has. Can I use the phrase "boy racer"? It has a little bit of that vibe to it.
Yeah,
which I don't love, but it's you see Corollas all the time. The Corolla hatch is a little bit more rare, so it's kind of a treat when you see it. But
well, and one thing that's nice about the Corolla hatch is that it has that short wheelbase, shorter length than the Corolla sedan. You're going to get that as well with the K4 hatchback. So Kia says, I think they said it's about 11 inches shorter than the K4 sedan. That's going to make it a lot more maneuverable. Worth noting, the K4 sedan is long. Yeah. It's like 185, 186 inches long, which means the K4 hatchback, it's not going to be like, a super mini. It's going to be the size of a Subaru Impreza hatchback.
Awesome.
But if you were worried about the K4 being like, I'm not sure about the rear end, it looks like a little stretched, I think this is a much better look.
Yeah, I think it's really great. And like I said, I think Kia's lighting signatures are, when they work, they're the best in the industry right now. But when they don't work, they don't work. And I think here they look really cool.
Yeah.
Looks really sharp, really aggressive.
It's more practical too. I mean, everybody who wants a hatchback typically wants it first and foremost for the practicality, and then maybe they like the look of it. This is 22.2 cubic foot trunk space. That's bigger than the Impreza hatchback. 59.3 cubic feet when that's folded. The fact that you can get almost 60 cubic feet out of a car this size, that's great packaging.
Great packaging.
It's if you're buying a hatchback because you want to fold the seats and throw your drum kit back there, this is the one to go for.
Any word on? There's no word on pricing, correct?
No word on pricing.
It'll be
yet.
a little bit more than that. If precedent proceeds, it'll be a little bit more than the sedan.
Yeah, it seems like other automakers are charging a slight premium for the hatchback body style. So I mean, why would Kia not follow that lead? Why wouldn't you charge a little more if you think you can get a little more? If if you're selling your house, you'd sell it to the highest bidder.
Yep.
It is supposed to arrive late in 2025, so it's going to be a 2025 model year. The EV9 Nightfall and the Kia EV4, those are both 26s. I think those will probably arrive late this year or earlier next year. But the Kia EV4 looks like, we could get it this fall.
Yeah.
You could be shopping in September.
Perfect.
Maybe. Don't quote me on that.
Don't quote. Watch the press release maybe, and we'll fill in more details when we have them in the future. Okay.
This was fun.
It's great. I'm glad we're
We'll
able
drop
to
in.
hop down into the studio, add some additional context.
Yeah.
And we'll send it back. We'll send it back to
you. Actually, you're the one who's about to. So you're gonna start speaking now.
Matt, you might have put these in the Toyota things. Is that from you? Can you talk to those?
There's going to be a very light showing from Toyota. I know they're doing a Forerunner marketing event. Essentially, I think you can win some land. Yeah,
like a plot of land that you own.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's a very interesting sweepstakes. They've got so apparently you can choose. Yeah,
Some land is worth more than others.
Anywhere?
We're gonna have
There's
to
some
get
like
more
oil patches
detail
in
on
Texas.
it.
I would like to get my hands
Maybe
on.
we jump into the comments.
Okay.
With a little more information. They also have released final editions for the GR86. I think there's a new special edition for the GR Corolla. Toyota is one of those automakers. We were talking auto shows have dwindled a little bit, particularly from a news standpoint in the past, but they are still valuable for consumers in terms of seeing what automakers have available for sale.
All in
Sitting
one
in
place.
it.
And Toyota, Honda, they're still very present at auto shows. So if you are interested in Toyota, if you want to see the final editions for some of their cars, they're going to be at the New York Auto Show. Great for cross shopping, frankly. And then Maserati is the other one. They've got a press conference today. Most likely it's the Grand Cabrio. And then they have a customization platform or package available. I don't know about anyone else at the table. I'm not carrying around Maserati money.
I'm not their target audience right now.
So I can't tell you a whole lot about
I'm
what's
not
going on
carrying
there.
around Palisade money.
But I can't wait till we get subscribers and sponsors for this, and then
I buy my Maseratis off the shelf. I don't need them customized.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't speak to me. Yeah.
you just like what they're doing.
Yeah, I'm I trust you guys are doing great.
Why mess
I'll
with
take the
perfection?
red one and the blue one. Yeah.
But yeah, I would say the highlights of the show this year, definitely Subaru. And if you've been to the auto show, Subaru does a great setup.
Yeah.
It's always really
cool.
impressive.
They had one, was it the
Puppies.
digital floor where they're
Yeah.
playing a video onto the floor,
Yeah.
superimposing trails
I
and
saw
streams.
one of
And
those.
then they've had
LA.
the CEOs come out with dogs in the
Yep.
back, and they go all out.
Yeah,
It's fun.
you need to. I think you can adopt puppies from Subaru
At the auto show,
at the
yeah.
auto show.
Yeah.
It's terrific. They're God
Good
bless them. So yeah, Subaru
They market well.
big events.
They know their audience.
Yeah.
Hyundai, big
Yeah,
release.
good show.
We're gonna
It'll
have
be a
something
good-
interesting from Kia. Definitely worth a look. But I'd say those are definitely the highlights of the show this
Cool.
year.
Awesome. Well, like I mentioned throughout the show, those big cars we talked about, go check Dave out as he walks around them, shows you inside and out. Really great work. I know.
And we're going to be testing all these cars in the next 6 months.
As soon as we can drive them, we will.
So
But
we'll,
Dave,
we'll firsthand
You did a
review.
great job. You were all
Thanks.
over.
Appreciate it.
All over. Did a lot of
Good
work
times.
covering these. So thank you.
Of course.
So go over there, give us a like, give us a comment, say great job, Dave.
Yeah, thanks.
And Phil, shout
And
out
Phil.
Phil.
Phil
What
is
a
our
West Coast
videographer, who I shoot with. He's fantastic. So our videos look good
Phil is
because
a
of
rock
him.
star.
Yeah, he's a rock
He's
star.
so quick, so good. So thanks, Phil.
All right.
Love the work you do. But yeah, so this was the first episode. We did it. First episode.
Good times.
We're
Good team.
gonna be doing these weekly. So subscribe, join in, come back next week, and also remember CarGurus.com. It's the best place to find a newer used vehicle, biggest selection in the industry. You can find us on all social platforms. So check us out. Thanks for being here.
Yeah,
Subscribe
thanks,
to the
folks.
podcast.
Subscribe to the podcast,
Yeah.
and we will see you next week. Bye.